honored to have my next guest join us to break things down and make me smarter. Ravens podcast. It's called The Vault. It's Sarah Ellison. She's got a co-host, Bobby, and I listened to it. Listen, leading up to Netflix, Sarah, I listened to all of it to get prepped. The race for the AFC North is a little wild.
It's very wild. And by the way, congratulations on your Netflix co-hosting and hosting. That was absolutely phenomenal. I kept pointing at the screen. I'm like, I know her. That's Kay. So happy for you. So proud of you. But yeah, here we are again with the AFC North. It took a little while to develop, but once again, we've got 3 teams contending for a playoff spot. It has got to be the toughest division in football. It's the most physical division in football. It's always a fight. And then we've got a treat because we've got Hard Knocks taking us in there each week to see what the other team is saying about the other.
Sure. What was your reaction? You have a good sense of, I love your podcast because you take comments from people, and it's like what the true people, the Ravens fans across the country are wanting to hear about. What was your reaction? What's the pulse of the fan base when you saw Ravens Browns is played before Bengals Steelers?
Yeah, I had anticipated that the NFL would put them side by side so that neither team could get an advantage. So on one end, Ravens fans were like, okay, hopefully the Ravens can play second, and then they can know whether or not they can rest their starters, including Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and all the stars. And then so we were like, but the NFL would never do that. They wouldn't give anybody an advantage, so they'll put them at the same time slot. Well, lo and behold, they give the Ravens first and then Steelers Bengals. And so it'll be the Steelers who has an advantage to know whether or not they should rest their players, which would obviously benefit the Bengals because they would need this win in order to keep their hopes alive. So do they kind of feel like the Ravens fans feel like there's a little bit of a slight towards the Ravens and giving the Steelers an advantage? Yes, because that is what's happening. But at the same time, Ravens fan base, the Ravens inside the building, they're all confident that they can go into this last game and win it. And whatever happens, they're going to be ready for it.
And they should be confident. And Lamar Jackson, and you had a very popular tweet a couple of weeks ago. I think we have it. And you laid out why the MVP race was still on weeks ago when it was Josh's year, and it might even be Josh's year. But more and more people are on your side now, Sarah, saying Lamar is the MVP. He's the MVP frontrunner. What is the most convincing factor if you were to break it down at a bar? People, no, okay. Josh is MVP. What would you say about Lamar taking it over?
Yeah, well, I've been having these debates online with MVP voters, so I'm ready to give that case. First of all, I would say Lamar, and I think most people agree, Lamar's having the best season of all the quarterbacks. If you look at the stats, he's winning in just about every major statistical category, minus the team record, which I can address later, but he's winning in all of them. And so the question is how do you define valuable, right? If you go to the NBA voters, they still say it's the best player. So most people say Lamar's having the best season, or they'll say he's tied with Josh Allen. The reason why Lamar's having the best season, in addition to having those stats, he's also having a transformative season, Kay. So you're talking about a guy who is known for running the football from the quarterback position. But right now, he has the best passer rating in the NFL and the second best passer rating in NFL history. And if against the Browns, he puts up a 138.6, he will then become the #1 single season passer rating quarterback in NFL history. And he'll be doing that while he is only a little over 100 yards away from 1,000 yards rushing. And he's only 45 passing yards away from 4,000 passing. So we're talking about not just a great statistical season, we're talking about a transformative one. We've never seen a quarterback have 4,000 passing yards and 800 rushing yards. He has a chance to hit 1,000 rushing yards. So I think that's the best case for him. I could also explain a lot of reasons. A lot of people try to knock him, and I could refute each one of those if you would like.
I think, well, we only have a couple minutes left, but he has better numbers than his previous MVP season, so it would all make sense. I mean, I would imagine the biggest argument against would be fatigue, would be rare air of a third one.
I think there's two. There's fatigue, and then there's other quarterbacks are doing more with less. So with fatigue, I think that's easily refutable. Like, you have to put blinders on. and say, okay, this is about the 2024 season. It's not about anything else. And frankly, if I'm Josh Allen, because I hear this argument for Josh Allen a lot, if I'm him, I don't want to hear fatigue, because that really means a pity vote. Like, okay, so I'm neck and neck with Lamar, and the tiebreaker is that I get pity. Like, as these guys are ultra competitive, I don't want to win off of pity. Okay, so if I'm Josh Allen, I don't want to hear that argument. Now, in terms of doing more with less, people knock Lamar. They're punishing Lamar for having Derrick Henry. And I am not going to dispute, I'm not going to sit here and trash Derrick Henry, who's a future Hall of Famer, in order to lift up Lamar. But so he definitely helps Lamar. But I think what most people are forgetting is that Lamar is helping Derrick also. I want to know why nobody is asking why a running back that is 30 years old, and yes, he's a future Hall of Famer.
We have to go.
But as a 30-year-old, he has a career best in yards per attempt and rush success rate. Just go to my Twitter feed. I've got video. It shows how often defenses are concerned about Lamar running and not Derrick, and how Derrick has free lanes. I'll just leave it at that.
SG Ellison with 2 L's. Please catch the vault on YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. Become I don't know, it's like a super subscriber of some sort where you get extra perks. I am always interested in listening to it. You do such a great job. You outlined a great MVP case, and we're so grateful. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Kay. And I would like a copy of that memoir when it comes out.